So I'll start off by saying that I've certainly had a lot of interesting and strange dreams throughout my life, and I've even had many recurring dreams. But the reason I sort of wanted to highlight this one is because something happened in this one that was very peculiar and has never happened in any other dream. I mean, this one stands out beyond any other dream in my life. And when I ran across your channel, I thought, well, let's ask the Dream Wizard for another perspective, because I certainly have a few thoughts about it, but I'm interested in maybe your thoughts about it, because I've never had anything like this happen. It was almost like it wasn't a dream. It was so. But anyway, I'll get into it. So for starters, I was in an old house that I used to live in. And it wasn't a fancy house. It was kind of an old, run-down house. It was, 70 or 80 years old. And many other people had lived in that house. But this took place in a house that I actually lived in real life. So in my dream, I was in this house, and it was one story. Didn't have an upstairs in real life. But in my dream, I noticed a flight of stairs. And It struck me a little funny, because I knew that this house didn't have stairs going up, didn't have a second floor. So I thought I was a little strange. So I decided to go up these stairs. So I went up the stairs, and there was a door at the top, and I opened the door and I went through, and then beyond the door, there was a hallway. And the further along that I went down the hallway, the memory of this place started to come back. Like I'd seen it before. I'd been there before. And so I kept going down the hallway, and it in the beginning, the stairs and the hallway were kind of just as old as the house was. Like the paint had been a little bit dilapidated. There wasn't any carpet. It was just old crackly wood. But the further I went down, the more new it became. So down the hall a little bit, the paint was starting to become more fresh or more new. Eventually, I ran across some carpet. It became a lot nicer, if that makes any sense. So, and every step that I took, the memory of this place became stronger and stronger. Like I've been here before. But at this part in the journey, I didn't have, the memory wasn't strong enough to know what was going on. So as I went down the hallway, I noticed a door off to my right, and I instantly knew that I had used to go through this door. It's like, oh, I know this door. So there wasn't any thought of, should I go straight down the hallway or should I go through this door? I knew that this door was where to go. But there was a little keypad on it, and I 10 feet before I got to the door, I could not have told you what the keypad was. But once I actually got right up on it, the memory of what the keypad number was. And so I punched it in and opened the door. And inside that was another hallway. And I went down that hallway, and the same thing happened. There was a door off to my right, a keypad on the door. And like I say, before I got to that door, I could not have told you what the combination was to unlock it. But as soon as I looked at it, I instantly knew, oh, I've been here before. I've opened this keypad I don't know how many times. So I punched it in, and this happened maybe a half dozen times. And it was like a little maze, hallway door, hallway door, hallway door. And every step, the memory of this place started to flood. Like, how could I have forgotten about this place? It's all making perfect memory now. So when I got to the last door, there was actually a person standing there. And instead of me having to punch the keypad to open it myself, it was like one of those tilers standing at the door, like a tiler, like a guard or something, opened the door and let me in. When I walked into this final room, the end of the maze, the memory of this room just completely overtook me. It wasn't like a recurring dream. It was like a real life memory. Like I have literally in real life been here before. And this is the really strange part about this dream that stands apart from any other, because I've had recurring dreams before, but I knew that it was just a reoccurrence of another dream. This memory was like a memory of real life, unlike a memory of another dream. So that's what really struck me funny, was because it was, I had been here a lot before. So now I'm in this room, in the final end of the maze, and what I beheld was just out of this world. It was over the top, ornate. It was just beautiful. The floor, the coffee tables, the chairs were literally made of gold and marble, and it's just the most beautiful design work. It was so incredibly over the top that I've never seen anything that money could even buy something like this. It almost looked like out of this world type of beauty, and incredibly detailed designs and patterns and all kinds of stuff. It was just over the top. And that was coupled with this memory of I've been here many, many times before. So off to the left, along the left wall, there was 7 chairs, but they weren't just chairs, they were thrones. They were like literally a king's throne. And the thing that was strange about these thrones is that there was a lid that came, like if you were to sit in it, there was a big lid, glass lid, that would come and encapsulate your body. So you'd literally be sitting inside of a glass enclosure. And this would lift up so you could get out of it, or when you sat down, you could close this lid in front of you. And to an average person off the street that did not have the memory of what this place was, it would appear to them that these were incinerators, like crematories. They were built to light you on fire. And the people that sat in these would literally, once they closed the lid, fire would ignite inside. And like I say, the average person would think that you were being incinerated. But because of my memory of this place, I knew that the person that are sitting in these would not be incinerated. They would not be consumed by the fire. And I had a lot of memories, but I didn't have memory of everything. I was still trying to piece together a few memories that were missing, even though a lot of memory was there. So a couple of the memories that I was trying to get to come back that seemed a little strange to me was, number one, the place was completely immaculate, but it looked like people hadn't been there in a very long time. And I was curious as to why it was so immaculate, like not a speck of dust anywhere, if it hadn't been used for so long. So I went back out to the door and I asked Tyler, I said, how long has it been since anybody's used this facility? And he says, oh, a long time. And I said, well, how long? And he says, oh, probably a couple of 100 years. I said, so nobody's been in here for a couple of 100 years? And he says, no. I says, well, then, I have a question for you then. What are you doing up here guarding the door if nobody ever comes up here? And he says, well, this place is always guarded. And I go, okay, so why is it so clean? How did it not dilapidate? I mean, doesn't entropy work up here? How come there's no dust anywhere if it hasn't been used in a couple 100 years? And he said, this place is attended to every day. It's always maintained. I'm like, okay. So Going back to these thrones, the final point that came to mind, or this memory, was that it was some type of not just the thrones, but the room and everything in the room all worked together like some type of a technology or some type of a machine. But it wasn't like a mechanical machine. It was more of like a energetic machine. And what would happen is that when you couldn't use it alone. It took all 7 people in the chairs working at the same time in order for the machine to work. And so I knew that if I were to go sit in it alone and go about this alone, that it wouldn't work. And I would actually be consumed by the fire. It literally took all 7 members, whoever those were. I don't have any memory of who they were, but I did remember that when I did use them, it took a whole team of people that had to be in there at the same time. And what they were actually doing is there was 2 things that happened inside the throne. And that was that, number one, they, instead of experiencing getting burned by the fire, they experienced undescribable euphoria, like nirvana or ecstasy. But this would only happen if they were there to perform the mission of this machine. If you went in there to just for self-gratification or self-ingratiation, you would be consumed by the fire. But if you were there to perform the mission and you had everybody present, then you would experience the euphoria and you would not get burnt, and the mission would be accomplished. Now, that is the bulk of the dream. There are a few more other details that I don't know that are too relevant, but that's basically the long and the short of it.